Nation, welcome back. Lieutenant Colonel Bill Cowan, retired from the United States Marine Corps, is our special guest this hour. First of all, Colonel, I want to thank you so much for joining us. It's been a great pleasure talking to you. Tell us a little bit about your radio show and how we can listen in from around the world.
Thanks for asking, Rob. First, it's been a privilege to be on with you. I'm on radio with an old friend of mine, former Ambassador Dick Carlson. He was the director of the Voice of America. And so he's a very interesting guy. He's the father of a fellow named Tucker Carlson, who's pretty well known in American media circles. Tucker's on Fox these days. And so Dick and I have done this show for about 10 years. We call it Danger Zone. We typically have had a lot of high-level guests on there, not just authors, but really high-level members of government. We've had 2 or 3 CIA directors over the years, a number of Secretary of Defenses, FBI directors, senior CIA and FBI people. So we often have some pretty interesting guests, and we have a lot of levity on it. We're not afraid to laugh and joke, oftentimes at ourselves. It's pretty free-flowing, and it's the kind of show that people can learn a lot from and enjoy at the same time. We are going to be broadcasting, not live, we're actually taped, on the morning, Saturday, 7 o'clock, Washington, D.C., AM 1500, found also on the web at Federal News Radio, and we're getting our website up, which is www.dangerzoneradio.com, and I know you're getting your web zone up. We're getting ours up also, Rob, so people can find us there, and of course there's always things on the web about Dick and me, but for the most part, much like your show in the sense that you're trying to inform the public out there, and often you're finding guests that they wouldn't normally run into, and of course you've asked me a lot of really wonderful questions here tonight that I think typical audiences want to have some sense of, and Dick and I do the same thing on our show. So,
well, that's great, Colonel. Like I said, it's been an honor and privilege talking to you. What are your final comments for the X-Zone Nation tonight?
Well, look, we're going to be talking about ISIS for a long, long time, and I always like to remind people that it's never about trying to scare people. It's about trying to inform them and educate them, as you're trying to do, Robin. We want people to be aware of their surroundings. We want them to know who the enemy is, and we want them to know who the enemy isn't. And we just, a better, well-informed population is going to be more understanding. When we have another 9/11, or whatever it tends to be, big or small, or another incident like the Boston Marathon, big or small, in this country, America or yours, in Canada, people just need to understand that these things happen. They're going to happen some more. I've been in Israel when the Israelis were attacked and when they were under attack, frankly, and I've been in Beirut in the worst days of the war. And the fact of the matter is, life goes on, and it's up to all of us not to live under fear, but to make the best of our lives and get around these incidents when they happen and continue to move forward. And in the meantime, against that backdrop, we have people out there trying to defeat ISIS, Al Qaeda, and the likes of them both.
When we start living in fear, isn't that when they start really winning?
They've absolutely won if we're all living in fear. And, I have to admire the Israelis the way they are. I was traveling around with a senior foreign ministry person one time, and every time there was a little alert of something happening, his cell phone went off, and he was getting really, literally real-time intelligence about the threats and about the movement of operatives, of bad guys, Hamas guys with bombs, and he was kind of watching it, Israeli intelligence watching the whole thing. And yet life went on. They didn't change their routine. People still go to the markets. They still go to restaurants. They still travel. They have to continue to live their lives and not live in fear.
Colonel, again, thank you. I wish you the best of success with your radio show. I know it's going to be a hit. And once again, to all of the members of the military, wherever you are, Canadian, American, Australian, British, to any member of the military who is out there protecting our freedom and our democracy, thank you. It is appreciated. Colonel, thank you, sir.
Thanks, Rob. Been a privilege being on with you.
Good night, sir. X-Zone Nation, my guest this hour has been Colonel Bill Cowan, www.colonelcowan.com. We'll be back after the news. Don't go away.